What should we start with? Manchester United?
Sounds like a good place to start because they're on the verge of getting a key signing. Mason Mount, one of their #1 targets throughout the course of this summer. We know that the deal was agreed last week between Chelsea and Manchester United for 55 million plus 5 million in add-ons. He's in Manchester at the moment. Our reporter Peter Stevenson has been keeping across every move he makes. We know that he's been going through the formalities of his medical at the moment, and this will bring the curtain down on what has been a very, very long Chelsea career for Mason Mount. He didn't get the game time he wanted last season, but he feels he's going to get the game time he wants at Old Trafford. So it's just a case really now of waiting for this medical to be officially completed, and then of course we'll await the confirmation and the unveiling video and all the subject media that he'll have to do off the back of completing that medical. But yeah, this one is edging closer to being sorted.
Yeah, Chelsea continue to strengthen the teams around them. We obviously saw Kai Havertz move to Arsenal as well. Big money move for him. There's more activity expected, isn't there, at the Emirates? Let's start with incomings.
Yeah, so we know that Arsenal are one of the big players so far in this window. They're looking to recruit, spend some big money and, of course, back Mikel Arteta over the course of this window. Let's go to the big talking point because it is, of course, Declan Rice. We know that this one has been going on for some time. There were more positive talks that continued over the weekend as Arsenal look to try and finalise the structure of the deal between Arsenal and West Ham. For the West Ham captain, you can see him there, he's a leader, and of course took West Ham to the Europa Conference League final. The silverware they lifted at the back end of last season will live long in the memories for West Ham fans, but it certainly looks like that's his final piece of action in East London for the club. So yeah, the talks continue. I'm expecting some big movement on this one over the course of this week. I don't think we'll be talking about this time next week, Declan Rice and Arsenal and the structure of the payments. But those continued over the weekend, and we feel like we're getting closer to a resolution on that one. We know that the talks are also continuing between Arsenal and Ajax with regards to the defender Jurrien Timber. They're described as being at an advanced stage at the moment as well. The final valuation and structure still being discussed between the player and, of course, Arsenal. He wants the move, which is key for Mikel Arteta, and once again Mikel Arteta getting his 3 key transfer targets very early in the window, so some significant business in that respect. And just a couple of potential outs to talk you through as well. Granit Xhaka, Arsenal remain in talks with Bayer Leverkusen over a potential deal for him. There's still a big gap between what Leverkusen want to pay and what Arsenal wants, but the talks continue this week. And we understand that there are a number of other players that Arsenal could be looking to shift on during the course of this summer. They'll be speaking to various clubs about their availability. They spent, if you include the Jurrien Timber deal, in excess of £200 million.
So they'll make some of that up.
So they've got to make some of that back. One of the players that could be heading out the exit at the Emirates is Balogun, who's valued at around £50 million. Of course, there's talk about Cedric Suarez, Nuno Tavares, and Nicolas Pepe as well. So I think Arsenal fans will see some new faces. They'll see a few faces leaving as well, and they're definitely going to be a team to watch throughout the course of this week. We're only on Monday, and it feels like it's been a really busy few hours.
Yeah, already. No one more busy probably so far than Chelsea, particularly with outgoings. But we're not done yet, Mark, are we, in terms of outgoings? They're going to recoup some more funds, it looks like.
Yes, well, everyone talks about Chelsea and the money they spent last summer and the money they spent in January, which totalled over £600 million. And everyone's, looking at that eye-watering amount of money and thinking, this is just extraordinary. But clearly, Todd Boehly and the board had a little bit of a plan that whilst they were going to go and recruit young players that they felt would be fantastic for Chelsea over the next few years, they also had a look at the current squad and thought, we've got a lot of assets here that will make us money. So we can go out and spend money, but then we'll recoup X amount of pounds over the course of the summer with these player sales. So far, they've sold in excess of £200 million worth of players. So they have generated a significant amount of money that's gone straight into the bank to counteract that spending that they've done. Some of the players that they're currently in talks with, Christian Pulisic, Lyon have made an offer worth over €25 million for him. Talks are still ongoing over the structure of the deal. AC Milan also remain keen on the player, but they're yet to make an official bid. So Pulisic looks like he's heading out the exit door at Stamford Bridge. Another player that could be leaving, long-serving captain Cesar Azpilicueta, a very popular figure amongst the Chelsea fans and, of course, in the dressing room. We're thought that Chelsea are close to an agreement with the mutual termination of Cesar Azpilicueta's contract. It would allow him to become a free agent, and then, of course, he could move to where he wanted. There's talks that he wants to get back to Spain for his family, and Atletico Madrid are showing a keen interest on him. So that could be one. And the other one to keep an eye on over the course of this week, and certainly over the course of the summer, is Romelu Lukaku. Big money signing for Chelsea. Went out on loan to Inter Milan last season. Inter Milan would love to have him back. However, Chelsea are unwilling at this stage and don't have it in their plan to do another loan for Lukaku. They'd like to move him off the books should he depart Chelsea over the course of this summer. But of course, he was an expensive player.
He was.
Close to £100 million. So therefore, they're going to try and want to recoup something. They're not going to get anywhere near that, but they want to get something back in the door for that. So it's an interesting one to try and monitor because, of course, Lukaku had the option to go to the Saudi Pro League for around £1 million a week, but he said, no, I want to stay in Europe. So that is one to follow with interest.